Good morning, teacher.
Today we'll be learning about debentures and charges. I have uploaded the questions for this chapter in Elip. I want all of you to download and understand the questions. Each of you should choose one question. Once we finish cover this chapter, I want all of you to answer the questions. The question that you have chosen. Then I will call up your name and you must give me the answer. Okay, so now I want all of you to sit in one group since most of your friends did not attend this class. So these are the questions that all of you need to answer. You may discuss it with your friend, and will give you 30 minutes to discuss. So you may discuss now. Now I would like to call Freda Tania to answer the first questions. Before you give me the answer, read the question first, okay?
So my question is, what requirement apply to the issue of debenture? So there are many requirements applied to the issue of debenture. The first one is legal authority. So the company issuing the debenture must have legal authority to issue the debenture. Legal authority ensure that the company follow proper procedure for offering debentures to investor and protecting their interests. Next is registration and approval. The issuer may need to submit an application along with the documentation to obtain the required interest and their approval. So next is eligible trustee. The person who are eligible to be appointed as a trustee must be identified under the Security Commission Act. And the last one is listing requirement. The company must be comply with the Bursa Security listing requirement if they are listed on the Bursa Malaysia.
Okay, good. Thank you, Freda. Next, I would like to call Angelyna. Give me your answer for question 2.
The question that is given to me is, what are the functions of debenture and how to know whether it is secured or not? Here are the functions of debentures. The first one is financing. The second one is income generation and diversification. Firstly, financing. Debentures provide a means for companies or governments to raise funds for various purposes such as expansion, acquisition or infrastructure development. Secondly, income generation. Debenture holders receive periodic interest payments, usually at fixed intervals, which provides them with a steady income stream. Lastly, diversification of capital structure. Issuing debentures allows companies to diversify their sources of funding beyond equity shares or bank loans, thereby reducing their reliance on a single type of capital. To determine whether a debenture is secured or unsecured, you need to review the debenture agreement, prospectus or offering documents provided by the issuer. These documents will explicitly state whether the debenture are secured and provide details about the collateral if applicable. It's crucial to carefully read and understand these documents to assess the security and risk associated with the debenture investment.
Okay, good. Thank you, Angel. Next, I would like to call Clara. Give me your answer for question 3.
So my question is, how to apply satisfaction of charge in the companies? There are 7 steps that have been identified in these issues. That is, first, identify the charges, fulfill obligations. The third one is obtaining documentation. The fourth one, notify relevant parties. The fifth one, update the records. The sixth one, obtain confirmation or acknowledgement. The seventh step is public registration. So the first step is, which is to identify the charges, can be done by reviewing the company's record, which includes the legal and financial documents in nature of the charge or also assets that were registered against it. The second one is fulfill obligations. It can be done by determining the requirements associated with the charges. For example, paying off or meeting any other conditions specified in charge agreement as a result to fulfill all necessary payment and interest according to the term and charges. The third step is to obtaining documentation. It can be done by gather the necessary documentation including proof of payments, release or discharge documents, and also other required paperwork. The fourth step is the company must notify relevant parties, which is the lender or the entity that holds the charge, includes any regulatory authorities or credit agencies that needs to be notified by providing them with the required documentation and evidence. This is to demonstrate the fulfillment of the charge obligations. The fifth step is to update their record. It can be done in including the legal, financial, and accounting documents. It can be done by filling the necessary paperwork with appropriate government agencies, updating companies' financial statements, and notifying relevant stakeholders or shareholders. The sixth step is to obtain confirmation or acknowledgement from the lender or to the entity holding the charge. This can be done in the form of release, certificate, and letter of discharge. As for the last step is company have to make public registration as if applicable. This step is applied to the company that was registered with public authority or registered and follows the required process. It is to ensure no charges appear as encumbrance against the company's assets in public records.
Okay, thank you, Clara. Okay, so far, do you all understand what your friend presenting about?
The question is, explain the implication of a company's failure to register charges or to properly disclose them. Based on my understanding, when a company fails to register charges or properly disclose them, it may have a significant legal and financial implication, including legal consequences, such as the company may face penalties, fines, or legal action from affected parties, including investors. Next is loss of credibility and investors' confidence. Failure to disclose the charges may result in the damage to the company's reputation, as transparency is crucial for investors and stakeholders to make informed decisions about the company's financial health and risk exposure. Lastly is the validity of charges. Charges that are not registered may be deemed as invalid, meaning that the company may lose security it intended to establish.
Wow, that's good. Thank you, Lydia. Okay, last questions. Karen, give me your answer.
Okay, the question I got was what are the two types of charge on debentures? So the two types are fixed charge and floating charge. So fixed charge is when the asset is subject to the charge is identified from the time the charge was created. So the company will not need to dispose of the asset because it will remain in the company, and the company also cannot utilize the asset without the consent of the creditors. So the creditors, they also need to give their consent whether the company can use the asset or not. So examples of fixed charge are land, factory, machineries, and the fixed deposit of a company. So next is floating charge. Floating charge is over present or future assets. This means the class of assets constantly changes and is quite uncertain and flexible. So the company also currently may have the asset or they do not have it currently and they may gain it in the future. The company can dispose of the subject matter of the charge. They can also utilize the floating charge until before the process of crystallization. So crystallization is the process in which the floating charge converts into the fixed charge. And the company also, if the company fails to repay the loan, the floating charge will automatically become the fixed charge. And the examples of fixed charge are stocks and inventory.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Okay, I hope by now all of you understand what debentures and charges are, how to apply, what is the functions of debentures and charges, what the implications when a company failed to register, and what is the requirement applied to the issues of debenture. Okay. Are there any other questions regarding debentures and charges?
Teacher, I have one question. How does debentures work?
Sometimes corporations and government usually use debentures to borrow for the medium or long term. Debentures come with either fixed or floating interest rate and pay interest payments known as coupon on a regular schedule. And debenture have a predetermined maturity date. This is when the issuing entity will pay back investor in full. As with other type of bonds, debentures tend to be lower risk than many other types of debt investing, even taking into account the fact that they don't have collateral backing them up. Do you guys have any question to ask me?
No, teacher.
Okay, since that you all can dismiss.